Hello and welcome to the Compassion Camp live info call. We are here today with Steve and Terrie, the masterminds behind Compassion Camp. Welcome to everyone who is just coming in. There are some prompts in the chat, which you should all be able to see. So I'm asking you to share in the chat your name, if it's not clear in your profile, where you're calling in from, and a gratitude that is alive in your heart this evening, or whatever time of day it is where you are. Okay. And please also, can everyone see the chat? Okay, I think so. I'm gonna keep letting people in. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Terrie. And someone's grateful for summer rain. Another thing that you can put in the chat if you are thinking of it now, and there will be plenty of time for you to do this later, either uh, by talking or in the chat, is to you can put in the chat what you most want to get out of this call and also what questions and curiosities you have. And then yeah, you can put that in the chat too. Your questions will shape our time together. So anything you can contribute in that way is most welcome. Let me make sure I have let everyone in. Okay, that is looking pretty good. So as you have probably been informed when you entered the call, this call is being recorded, and the recording will be going out to anyone who signed up for the call but couldn't make it live. And it it may also be shared with other people who are also interested in Compassion Camp. Just so you know that, if you choose to share this evening, that's what's going to happen to this recording. All right. Thank you so much for entering your places. We have Norfolk, Virginia. We have Michigan. Welcome, welcome. Balsam Grove, North Carolina, right here in our backyard.
Oh.
All right. So yes, again, I'm just going to remind you, you're welcome to put your questions and curiosities into the chat while we're talking. And now I'm going to introduce our facilitators for this evening, as well as your Culture's Edge staff member, soil staff member, that's me. My name is Helen. I am one of the program coordinators for Compassion Camp, and I also do registration and customer service. So you can expect to see my smiling face when you show up for any soil program.
Yay.
Thanks, Steve. And co-hosting with me are Steve Torma and Terrie. Is it Terrie? How do you say your last name, Terrie?
I say it Lewine.
Okay, Terrie Lewine are our two Compassion Camp leaders. So how about Steve and Terrie, if you just introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about you.
Awesome. Terrie, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
Why don't you go first?
All right. Thanks for coming out for this call tonight, y'all. This is a pleasure to meet people who are interested in camp and share our excitement and our vision. This is our 8th annual Compassion Camp. And we started it to facilitate people who are wanting to get together to inspire, empower each other to create a more compassionate world. And a lot of the emphasis at the beginning and throughout the previous 7 events has been nonviolent communication, which probably many of you know about what that is. But we like to bring in as many different topics as people are excited to share and learn about, related to creating, the more beautiful world that our hearts know is possible. And so in these calls, we like to answer people's questions, um, about what the details are. There's obviously we could give a lot of details, but we like to just give the basics and then answer people's specific questions. Um, yeah, I'll leave it at that for now, Tara.
Hi, everyone. I'm in Philadelphia and I traveled. I've known Steve for many years and was in it from the beginning. He gives me a lot of credit, even though I'm totally inspired by Compassion Camp and what happens there. Um, I would say one of the biggest things, one of my biggest memories and hopes for Compassion Camp is the pretty consistent um, feedback of transformation, of connection and open-heartedness and wisdom and fun and deep inner exploration and a connection that people feel with each other in just a short amount of time. There is transformation that happens in people's lives that stays with them. I know that change is made through either intensity or repetition, and I think the 4 days together creates an intensity that is remarkable. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you're curious about and answering it in the best way possible.
Thank you, Terry, and thank you, Steve. So I'm just gonna give first an overview of the call. Um, I am going to introduce um, Soil, Culture's Edge, and Earth Haven. And then we can hear a little bit more from Steve and Terry, a little bit more information about Compassion Camp. Um, I I can answer any questions that you have about logistics, so don't hesitate to ask those questions. And yeah, so most of this call will be for your questions, and then we will close. And hopefully you all have lots of curiosities coming up. Okay, so Culture's Edge is Earth Haven's educational, well, it's not just educational, it's Earth Haven's nonprofit arm, and Soil is part of Culture's Edge. It helps Earth Haven carry out its educational mission. We host online and in-person programs, and we are hosting, we will be hosting Compassion Camp. So, Earth Haven, our mission and vision is to create a village which is a living laboratory and educational seed bank for a sustainable human future. In the midst of planetary change, the Earth Haven experiment helps inform and inspire a global flowering of bioregionally appropriate cultures. We are located in Western North Carolina, about an hour away from Asheville. Earth Haven is almost 32 years old. It's located on 329 acres, most of them forested. There's about 100 people living here, about 80 adults and 20 children. So that is a very basic overview of Earth Haven. And of course, if you have more questions about the setting of Compassion Camp, which is a very special part of it, feel free to ask those as well. Okay, so Steve and Terry, I know that you did already just say a little bit about Compassion Camp because it's so tightly entwined with your personalities that you can't introduce yourselves without talking about it. But please tell us anything else that we need to know to have sort of a basic overview of what people can expect when they show up.
Steve, you're muted.
Got it. Thank you. Want me to go first again?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So, Earth Haven is nestled into this gorgeous Appalachian woods. And so it's, first of all, it's a very strong nature environment. A lot of woods, a lot of trails, um, a gorgeous stream, and so the setting is a big part of the experience of Compassion Camp. Um, while we kind of stick to ourselves in the middle of the village, the area that we will be gathering in, campgrounds and council hall and so forth, it is nestled by the rest of the 10 different neighborhoods that comprise Earth Haven. You can go on a tour if you would like of Earth Haven, but we don't uh, walk around into the private areas when we're there. But a lot of people like to go on the tour and see what Earth Haven looks like. The food is all locally sourced and locally, well, I shouldn't say all, as much as possible locally sourced. Some of it actually comes from Earth Haven. Some of it comes from farms and gardens nearby. Um, one of the things that's most unique about this gathering, and I've been to lots of different eco spiritual community type gatherings in my lifetime, but one of the things that's most unique about Compassion Camp is we use a process called open space technology, which has been around for, like, I don't know, 50, 60 years. It's this very elegant and creative way where people get together. They have the ideas of things they would like to offer as breakout workshop offerings to share and to teach with others. And you can also ask for certain topics, and we match up people's interests with people's gifts to offer. And within just like a 3 hour chunk of time on Friday, we create the schedule for the rest of the breakout classes, breakout workshops for the rest of our time together. It goes from Thursday through Sunday. And so this idea was inspired by Margaret Mead, if you know that name, anthropologist, who was recommending that one of the most important things for human beings to do in this age of great transformation is to create what she called teaching learning communities. So yes, it's great to have experts and rely on experts and bring experts in and all that. Of course, that's important. But she was a huge fan of believing that every one of us has something that we can teach and offer to others. And so there's a very strong emphasis on this creating a teaching learning community. And the another very central or essential component of camp comes from a woman named Angeles Arian, who wrote a book called The Fourfold Way, where she talked about in her study of human cultures that the four most successful or prominent ways that human beings would connect with each other and access guidance and spirit and so forth is through the practices of singing and dancing, storytelling, and silence. So we try to weave in these components as well into the camp experience. And so there is some structure, there's definitely structure, but there's also room for spontaneity. So it's this beautiful blend of what I like to call the trellis and the vine. A trellis by itself is not very life-giving. A vine that just meanders on the ground is not very life-giving. But you create a trellis and you grow a vine up over it, and that's the best combination. So we like to have a blend of spontaneity and structure that creates what I've experienced as a very dynamic bonding and educational community. Terry, would you like to add in some other pieces?
Well, I would say that Steve captures a lot of it, and I think one of the words that I might use also is it's kind of fun. I mean, people tend to just, like it's only 4 days, but it seems like a week. Like it just somehow time stands still, and there's so much possibility of of again singing or doing drumming or doing some, deep, serious inner exploration and yoga in the morning. So we try to take care of like everyone's needs, emotional needs, and I think you'll find that what I don't know what you're coming for. Hopefully, we'll find that out. That you are well taken care of. Because some people, for this, while we're saying it's all lovely, it runs deep. And people might be talking about or opening up a heart space that they have never accessed before. And we really actually take that part of it seriously as a kind of an introverted person who's been to many of these kind of retreats. I like it when I'm held. I like it when I can trust that my emotional well-being will be held, it will be noticed, and it will be held. And so that does happen also. Yeah. So while there's a lot of singing, dancing, great food, and camping and earth stuff, there's a lot of structure for your safety and well-being and emotional support too. And yeah, so I don't know. I think I'd like to hear what your questions are before I blab away about what I like about it so much.
Thanks,
Okay.
Doc. I want to add two other things that are really essential. One is we have been blessed with some grant money for being able to provide scholarships. So we have that capacity. We especially we especially like to focus on recruiting BIPOC folk because Earth Haven tends to be a very white space, and we like being more colorful. And I'm happy to say that that has gotten increasingly so at Compassion Camp over the years. In fact, last year, I think 1/4 of the people there were people of the global majority. So very happy about that. And we also have a children's program, ages 4 to 12. So parents can bring their children, and then that allows the parents to have more of their adult time, and the children are together learning and doing age appropriate activities that help them to feel very included in the experience as well. So I wanted to mention those two pieces.
Okay. Thank you. So I see we already have a couple of questions over here in the chat, so I'm going to take those. From Oki from Queens, New York. Oki, I am from Brooklyn, New York. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, okay, so I can actually answer these questions. These are easy questions. What's the latest possible time to register? That is Monday, July 13th at 5 p.m. That is when registration closes. And the so the total cost for tuition, which includes food, is the high. It's a sliding scale. There's a scholarship rate, a self-selected scholarship rate. Anyone can choose it if that's what you feel is appropriate for you. That's $225. And there's also a sliding scale that goes all the way up to $525. So you can choose, in that range, what works for you. As Steve mentioned, there are also BIPOC scholarships available, and that requires a special code. If you qualify for that and are interested in that, you can email me, Helen, info@schoolofintegratedliving.org, or fill out our contact form on our website. It's very easy to find. So yeah, okay, that's the answer to that question. And then this next question is for one of you, Steve or Terrie. Do you all intentionally nurture the connections formed during camp in the following weeks and months, or is that for participants to do on their own?
In the past, we have had a signal string that, and I don't, excuse me if I'm not using the right word because I am kind of computer challenged, but people have talked to me about creating a signal. Is that the right word? Signal, string, signal, group, signal. So yes,
Listserv? Is it on Signal? I didn't know that.
yeah. That's what people have told me. So yes, there is a very intentional effort to keep people connected who want to stay connected through Signal. And people can start other, if there, I know there are other ways of doing that, so people are welcome to, start their own and invite people to it. But the short answer is yes, we very much do like to promote that. Mhm.
I do think that Signal aside, there's also email. We ask if you want privacy. I don't know how they keep it, but if you don't, then an email will go out to everyone with everybody's email, not BCCs. And so, and I think there are just a few kinds of requests like, you know, let's not use it for ongoing sales. But other than that, we let people take care of each other. But your information will be shared with each other unless you ask us not to. I think that's how that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a contact list that I put together for the program, so everybody gets access to the list. And if you want to remove yourself, you can. So along those lines, Stephen Terry, of the sort of longer lasting impacts of Compassion Camp, I'm wondering if you could say more or maybe give a couple anecdotes, if any come to mind, of like relationships or collaborations that have started at Compassion Camp and then have, continued and really had a lasting impact on people's lives.
The one that's most exciting to me as one actually I've only learned of in the last few months, um, which is that there's a couple in Cincinnati who, unbeknownst to me or to any of us, pulled off their own compassion camp with families that they knew, people that they knew up in Cincinnati. They like rented some camp place and just did their own camp. And to me, it was such a delight because I've always hoped that this model, which is relatively easy to replicate in my experience, that I wanted this model to spread and for people to take it and tweak it, make it their own, but use this basic model as a way of building community and teaching learning communities in your own life. So that's one of the most recent uh, ones that I'm very excited about. But there's also been a lot of others, and unfortunately, nothing is coming to my mind right away. But knowing that people have, having discovered each other's interests, then went on together to, run an online class together, or found somebody in their community that they didn't know was there, and then friendships have formed from that, and sometimes mutually creative uh, endeavors, um, like day-long workshops or whatever that they would put on together. Yeah.
Thank you,
I'll
Terry.
just add one short little thing is because I live far from there. I live in Philadelphia in an urban setting. And, over the years, I'd say maybe 10 or 15 people from up here have gone down there and they have formed bonds. And, uh, there's a way that they know each other now that they haven't. I know people who have come, their life has been forever changed and they tell their friends and bring them the next year. So um, I do know that that has happened with some of my peers or the people that I know from up here, is that they're so moved that they bring somebody they know, a family member or someone they care about, the following year because they want them to have an experience of uh, we're, being seen for who they are, respected for who they are. And that's it. Like it's such a gentle place for people to be that in that way, I think it's just people want their friends to have the experience of being 100% accepted for who they are. and so they bring them down.
Mhm. Thank you. Okay. So I know that y'all on this call have questions. I know that you are curious about something. Okay. So, please share. And I am seeing that someone must be reading my mind because here is a question over in the chat. Oh, there's more than question. Oh, I love you. I love you. Okay. About how many folks usually join camp? 80 to 100? Is that about right? Yeah. Okay, and sometimes some years it's smaller. We're not certain, but that's usually where it falls. What are the usual demographics? I know you said last year was a quarter from the global majority, which is exciting. Curious about other stats that feel relevant.
Um, I
I'm
would
gonna go with it's 100% nice people. Sorry.
uh, I would say that it is maybe like two-thirds people from this general area, just guessing. General area meaning North Carolina, Tennessee, South Carolina, and so forth. And then the other from a little further distance away. I would say that it's probably a larger percentage, slightly larger percentage women than men, women identified, male identified. Um, I would say about 10 to 15% children. Um, what other demographics could we make reference to? Um, yeah, we don't ask people, where they fall on the LGBTQ whole spectrum, so I can't really say. I think that's not something we ask people, but it's very friendly environment for people of any and all identities. Um, yeah, and any other specific questions related to demographics anyone has?
Is there anything you can say about the occupations, professions, like artistic leanings of people who attend camp? Anything about that?
Yeah, we don't ask people those questions, but it does kind of come out in conversations. So I would say that um, people in the healing arts would probably be the largest percentage of careers. Um, Counseling, healthcare, um, personal growth, um, careers of some sort. Um, a significant percentage of people who either are an activist capacity, either as a profession or as their passion in life. That's certainly a very common aspect of what people share. Um, some educators, grade school, high school, college level um, teachers, um, farmers, or people who uh, for whom being close to the earth and being connected to the earth that's an important part. Not necessarily a high percentage of them as their primary source of income, but a common, very common thread that runs through is people who grow their own, at least some of their own food, some of their own medicinal herbs, and um, yeah, a lot of people who have very strong self-care practices, whether it be yoga or meditation or movement or food or so forth. Yeah. Hey, yeah, Tara.
And I thought of another demographic, which is age.
Oh, yeah.
And, there's kids there doing the kids program, So there's people probably there are babies there sometimes, but they don't get to go to the kids program. But, I think it really runs the gamut from people who are 75 to people who are, I'd say, 25 age-wise. And sometimes it's hard to tell the difference for me. But I think we held a space for all ages. I know people who are retired who go and people who are like festival. I would say the word kid, but festival people who travel around and like to do festivals.
Thanks, Terry.
Oh, okay.
Which
Yeah.
for me, I think is fun, like for elders to be there and youngsters to be there, just liking each other is remarkable to me.
All right. So our next question is the expectation that everyone teaches something, or is it opt-in? Do you all find that folks plan their offerings beforehand, or is it supposed to be spontaneous? And how much time do you have typically? That is three questions at once. Let's see how you do it answering them, or I can remind you if you forget.
Yeah.
I'll start. How about you fill in when we're done? There is no expectation of anyone to do anything. Like if you want to just go lay down, if you want to do yoga, like Steve does yoga, you go there and the teacher's doing stuff and Steve's over there doing other things. So you get to do whatever you want to do in Compassion Camp.
Within
You are,
within within boundaries of respecting other people's needs.
yes. But in terms of an expectation that you say, hey, I want to, I know a little bit about this, that, or the other thing, and I want to lead a program, not required, expected. It's invited if you want, A, if you feel confident, B, if you don't feel confident, you get to try it. And often in the way we use the word technology, but it's a bunch of people just saying, here's what I want to offer, here's what I want to learn about. And so the people up front who are sort of organizing it all kind of put them together. And sometimes people teach together where these two topics are very close. Um, so yeah, if there's something you're inspired even just to talk about, you get to say that. Whether I'm not sure if you call that an offering or a request, but somewhere in the middle is also fine. Um, so that's the exp. Oh, and I tend not to prepare ahead of time, but some people do. So, I think what I like hearing in general is that people are celebrated for their gifts, whatever they are. It's like those when you go to talent shows and a thing like this, you know, everybody claps at everything and it's like I just like that. And it's kind of like that when you're teaching, I think.
Yeah, and the like Terry said, there's no expectation. It's just an invitation. And in terms of how much you even attend everything in camp, occasionally people come and they're in an exhausted period of their life, and they spend a good bit of their time in a tent or stringing up a hammock between trees or walking trails or you know doing their own private practices. So as long as you are within the agreements of not going wandering into the village, as long as you're not harming anybody else with what you're doing, we really welcome you to be self-directed. What do you need while you're at this time? Many people have never experienced a place like Earth Haven, a place out in the woods where you feel safe and you're going to be given 3 meals a day that you don't have to do anything to prepare for. So some people really take it as kind of a vacation to really downshift their life. And they don't go to many things. And other people like dive in and try to like squeeze every drop of juice out of the experience. Either one and everything in between is welcome.
Okay, and the last two out of three ain't bad, Steve and Terry, but number three, how much time do you typically have for an open space session if you're offering something?
They're usually around 2 hours.
Okay, thank you. All right. So, okay, I'm also seeing a question about, can you also talk about lodging? I think it's a separate fee. I saw a few options, but wasn't sure if you need to bring your own gear if you choose camping. So, yes, thanks for asking. There are a few separate options for lodging. One is you can commute. You don't have to stay on site. You can find an Airbnb nearby or whatever. We do recommend that you do stay on site so that you can get this full retreat experience and you can, stay up late with your new friends if you want to and so on and really be immersed in the experience. But that is an option. As far as camping, we have a beautiful forested campground with lots of moss and its own kitchen. And so it's possible to stay there in a tent. You can also stay there in a vehicle and, sleep in your vehicle, or you can, park your vehicle and pitch a tent next to it. And in the campground, we have a cabin. It has two sections. There are four bunks on each side. So most likely you're going to have roommates if you choose to stay in the cabin. And, be aware of your tolerance for snoring if you choose that option. You do need to bring your own gear, with the exception that there you can pay a small fee to rent a sleeping bag and a sleeping pad, and then I think there is also an additional fee if you stay in the cabin, and you can I think you can pay an extra fee to rent sheets and a sleeping bag. And so, if you are coming from far away and you're traveling by plane, for example, the cabin can be a good option. That could be a good low cost option for that. We also have indoor lodging in a number of different neighborhoods in the village. That's also a great option if you're flying and don't want to carry very much, because in the indoor lodging situations, all your bedding is provided for you. And indoor lodging is also well, depending on where you stay. Some of the indoor lodging options provide you with exposure to people who live here. Like you're staying in their house with them. And so that can be kind of fun to get a little bit of an extra taste of what Earth Haven is like. And then some of them are more, kind of retreat center style, and you're more just likely to be with other campers. But that is the lowdown on lodging. And if there are any follow-up questions about that, I'm happy to answer those. Okay, so I'm seeing a question now about what about 13 to 18-year-olds who fall outside the bounds of the kids program, which is for 4 to 12-year-olds. Are there topics appropriate for them? Can they help with younger kids instead of attending sessions? What do you think?
To my knowledge, we do not have older children accompanying the younger children in the youth program. I don't think that's ever happened. Could it happen? Maybe. I don't know that we've ever had that question before. Um, yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Are there topics appropriate for this age group is the other question. Like in the open space or the offerings that they might want to partake of.
I think it would depend on the person, on the child, on the young person. Some things I think they would easily fit into, like a drumming event or a movement event or something like that. But I would say that the majority of the breakout sessions are adult oriented.
There's, I remember last time there was, or maybe the last two times, there was a collage. I mean, there's a wide variety of things, and it depending upon sort of their mindset. An 18-year-old is also different than a 12-year-old, and so I know 18-year-olds that would love to to do many of these things, but it's not all super heady. Some are massage, some are dance, some are, they're so again, it would depend on that person and their sort of where they live and what they're interested in.
Yeah.
And they could, and there's been young people who lead things there, lead
Breakouts.
breakout, thank you, breakout sessions and lead talent shows. And we've had one young person from very young to, it's been 9 years. So that person has been leading things for the past couple of years. And I think she's maybe 15 at this point, or I don't know how old she
Yeah.
is. Part of my oldest daughter. And so it's kind of open.
All
I
right.
see a hand.
Yes, yes, this is a very exciting occurrence. We have our first raised hand. Melissa, Melissa, please unmute if you haven't already and tell us what your question is.
Greetings, folks. I came a few minutes late, but I wanted to get understanding about the food and like care for different diets.
Yeah, I can answer that. I process people's registration forms with their food preferences. So when you sign up, you will you will see some questions about your dietary profile. We ask about, whether you're an omnivore, vegetarian, or vegan, also whether you are gluten-free and whether you're dairy-free. Those are the basic categories. There's also a question about additional dietary information or restrictions. So if you are allergic to something, we want to know that. Or if there's just something else that's important to you or unique to you about how you eat, then you can let us know. Sometimes if people have like really specially restricted diets, we do request that they bring some of their own supplementary food. But we pass all the information that we get onto the cooks, and so they're able to plan and make sure to accommodate everyone who has signed up.
Well, thank you. The other question was around like where can I find, or you guys have posted like what the community agreements are for the Compassion Camp? Like how are folks engaging with any tensions that may arise, or just like what's the general agreements that are held for this weekend?
Well, I have one answer to that question, and then you can answer it too. So when you register for Compassion Camp, you will see the a screen with the soil values and code of conduct on it. And so that's one answer to your question. If you read all those carefully, then you'll see what you are agreeing to when you come to Compassion Camp or any other soil program. And Stephen Terry, what do you want to say about that?
That's what I was going to say, that everybody agrees ahead of time to this code of conduct that Soil has developed. Helen, I wanted to backtrack a moment. The question about lodging and being included in the cost. We didn't explicitly mention that.
Oh, so lodging is not actually included in the cost. Food is included in the cost, and lodging is extra. So if you are commuting, if you're staying in a B&B somewhere, then there's just one price, and that includes your tuition and your food. If you are staying at Earth Haven, then there is an extra cost. I believe it's $65 per person for camping. It's a little more to stay in the cabin, and then and then it's more than that to stay in indoor lodging. For the indoor lodging, you can book a private room for one person, a private room for two people, or a shared room, and the cost of indoor lodging varies according to which of those options you choose.
Thank you.
I would like to just sort of add to the code of conduct. There is a code of conduct. We invite people to, I think there's a signature that you read it, like, or if you register, there's an assumption that you have read it.
Yeah.
And I would also, because I spoke about it earlier, there's a container of safety and we go in my opinion, and is that we go to great lengths to hold people in care. We have what we call empathy angels, people who we set up either ahead of time who are there, identified with, that you'll know who they are. So that if you're feeling scared or hurt or something, having strong feelings about anything, there are people who at camp who you can ask to be attended to by. And depending upon what happens there, the rest of us, staff or Steve and I or whoever might support people in some kind of way that's being asked for. So I guess what I'm trying to say is the code of conduct is the structure, and feelings happen. So we like to attend to those.
Melissa, did that answer your question? Do you have any follow-up you want to give?
No, that was helpful because, yeah, my question was the second kind of part of that was, okay, how are challenges handled if they come up, right? So we can have all these agreements and, humans are humaning, so harm can happen. So I appreciate the second part, Terry.
Right, thank you. Okay, so we have another question about travel. Driving up from Greenville, South Carolina, and we'll have room in our minivan for maybe 2 to 3 people who need a ride if they're flying into Greenville or driving up from here. Is there a transportation share group chat spreadsheet type of thing? Yes, we have a spreadsheet for that. It is our, yes, carpool sharing something or other sheet. And when you sign up, you will receive a link to that sheet. And you can indicate on the sheet if you are offering a ride, if you're requesting a ride, and of course your location that you're coming from or going to after camp ends. And something else that happens, because sometimes the requests and offers don't quite match up. Sometimes, everybody wants a ride from Asheville, but nobody has space in their car. In that case, sometimes the people who are requesting have gotten together and rented a Lyft or an Uber together. So there's creative options for getting your needs met for transportation. Right. So if there is anyone who wants to be brave like Melissa and raise their hand, if you don't feel like typing right now, if you just want to talk, please do raise your hand. You can actually, and if you can't figure out the whole like raise hand thingy, you could just like raise your actual hand and I could call on you like that too. So if there's a call, Terrie, wow, you modeled the whole hand raising thing, your analog hand.
I don't, it takes me so long to go down
I
there. I
know.
just raise my hand. Um, I think it would be worth it just to spend time with Helen. I think she's really funny and fun. I don't even know, but anyhow, I'm just curious of the people who I don't know, which is just Steve, Helen, and myself. Are there people here who are registered and just want to get some details? Are there people who are yeah. So are there people who are registered or people who have come before or like where are you all at in terms of your decision making? Oh, who's that? There's Gems. So is anybody here? I'll just ask this way so you don't have to unmute. Are there anybody here who's actually registered? Oh, uh-huh.
Yes. Mhm.
Great.
And Nicole. Nice.
Awesome. Great. So, are you, Hannah, are you raising your hand because you have a question?
I
Or
was just going to chime in and say that I went to Earth Haven 2 years ago for the experience weekend and really was super impressed by that and how it was facilitated and just like my main the main way that I described it to people coming back was like I have never felt so quickly so close to a large group of people. Like it just felt like a very welcoming space, and it was like just really well contained by the organizers and facilitators to like just allow people to be however they were and just show up and like connect with other humans on a really cool level. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed that experience and then heard about Compassion Camp and thought there would be some good like takeaways, learning about NVC and um, things to bring back to my community here. Um, so yeah, I'm like, I'll probably register after the call tonight. I'm excited to be there. So, and I'm hopefully like bringing some friends from the area with me. So, yeah.
Awesome.
You.
On a different note, just as a bit of a side note, Melissa, I noticed that your shirt says yoga for Philly. Do you live in Philly?
Yes,
That's where
Me
Terrie's from.
too.
I saw. I had put in the chat. Shout out to
Oh,
Philly.
nice.
Oh,
Awesome.
where in Philly?
I'm in Northwest right now.
Awesome. Thank you.
Roxbury.
That was exciting.
Oh my
Yeah.
Anyone
While I
else?
have while I have the mic open, is there options to like do some work exchange or volunteer to offset any of the costs?
No, we are not. We are not offering that this year.
But Melissa, I don't know if you were on the call early enough that we have BIPOC scholarships that cover everything.
Right.
God. Are you going to be driving down just now? I want to just talk to the Philly person. But anyway, I don't have to, but are you thinking of coming?
I put my email in the chat and you could
All right.
talk. But yeah, I am thinking of
Sure.
coming.
Great. I'll copy it.
All right. So anybody who has not signed up yet, who is on the fence, is there is there anything that is a question that's bubbling up that would help you get clarity on whether this is for you or some obstacle that keeps coming up that if you could figure out an answer to, you would be able to come? Anything like that that we can help you with in our last 7 minutes together. Okay, I'm not seeing any of those, but we do still have time. Melissa, did you have another question?
Yeah, I have a young person. I heard a little bit about the age, but I was wondering if you could share more about who's running the kids programs and what that involves. Is it the whole time or is it just part of the time?
Yeah, so the kids program is for children ages 4 to 12, and there are two people running it. One of whom lives at Earth Haven, the other one used to live here and lives nearby. They both have lots of experience with childcare. The childcare program does not, a, it's not a 24/7 situation. Um, Childcare is available, well, the kids program runs during the open space session times. So there's a block of kids program in the morning and a block in the afternoon to the early evening, and then the the parents are politely and rigorously requested to please come pick their children up before meals. And in the kids program, I mean, it's kind of up to the facilitators to choose what they want to do. I heard that last year they spent a lot of time in the creek. Sometimes there are art projects. There could be the possibility for the kids to create their own, open space offers or make open space requests in the adult world. Or I think that I heard last year the kids created their own open space program and decided what they wanted to offer to each other. So, does that answer your question about the kids program?
And Melissa, for full disclosure, both of those women are white. I don't know if that matters to you or not. We would like to eventually have more global majority folks, but we're a very white community, and it's we're moving very slowly in that direction. So I just want you to know that.
All right. I think, did I just see, I saw a hand. Chris, you're being brave. Please unmute yourself and let us know what's on your mind.
Hey, I was just gonna say that I was there few weeks ago. I don't know how long it's been for the experience thing weekend, and I just wanted to say that yes, Helen is awesome. Someone had mentioned that earlier, so I'm just verifying that, and that the um my kid was in the childcare stuff and she had a blast. They do a lot of stuff outside, and yeah, it's just during your sessions, and then your kid kind of magically shows up and there's dinner. So that part was pretty awesome. That was my favorite part, and that's all I had.
All right. Thank you for the testimonial and the testament to how awesome I am. Verified by a third party now. All right. Put that on my resume. Officially awesome. Okay.
People like me.
People like me. I've arrived. All right. We have 4 minutes, people. If you've been sitting on something for the past 56 minutes, now's your chance. I see a hand. Another brave soul. Hannah, you need to unmute. Okay.
Um, I was going to say if someone were to bring a child under the age of 4, would they just be responsible for them the whole time in some, or like, if they came with friends, like, would it just be up to that group to take care of a younger kid and like alternate?
Uh, yeah. Basically, if the child is under 4, then the parent, the caregiver,
Yeah.
whoever else, the allo parents are responsible for taking care of the child. We did have a request this year from a parent of a 3-year-old. She asked if she could bring her 3-year-old to the kids program and be in charge of her own child, but make it possible for her kid to hang out with the other kids. And the child care, the kids program, people said yes. So that's something that is also an option.
Cool.
Just to be clear too, that uh, the BIPOC scholarship covers not only the person registering, but anybody who's in their family, including youth. So, Melissa, if you're hearing this, if you were to bring a youth for someone for the youth program, they would be covered as well.
Okay, so Steve, Terrie, we have 2 minutes. Do you have any final thoughts for the people, like the one true reason why they must come to Compassion Camp this year? Or
I would say follow your heart. If this feels like something that you are being called to, then check in with yourself and see if that's what you're going to do. Because we can give all of our, flowery descriptions and all that, but it really depends on if it's right for you. So, yeah, please follow your own heart about this.
And as a person who lives in the city and only gets to Earth Haven as her muse, I would say just being living on the land for 4 days like that and breathing in air with all these trees. I mean, I have 2 trees outside and that's it, for like a square mile. So I think it's transformative just to be on the land, to be less on, it's not that easy to get online. You can, but it's just a whole different thing that, I'm a part of all of this just because one time I took a tour of Earth Haven and the tour itself changed the entire trajectory of my life, or at least. So even that, if you don't go to a single event and you just sleep in a tent on the land and eat the food of the land, for some, that's just a miracle.
Yes. We have air here, we have water, we have soil, we have people, and we have love. Bottom line. All
It's
right.
just true.
It is true. Okay, well, that is our time. Thank you so much to Steve and Terrie and for all of y'all who showed up and your questions and your presence. And please don't hesitate to reach out to me, info@soil.org. If you have questions, I will be happy to help you out. And have a wonderful rest of your evening.
Great to meet you all. Hope to see
Thank
some of
you,
you at camp.
everybody.
Yeah,
Night.
right. Good night.